6 months, that's all it took for God to completely flip my life upside down. Not a year, not a decade, 6 months. And most people spend their whole lives waiting for things to get better on their own. The change didn't start with a new habit or a new plan. It started the moment I stopped running. And I need to tell you exactly what that looks like. If you've been feeling stuck, like no matter what you do, nothing actually shifts, this video is for you. I'm not talking about being a little frustrated. I'm talking about that feeling where you're tired. I'm talking about that feeling where you've tried everything and you're still in the same place, the same pattern, the same pain. Stay with me for a few minutes because what I'm about to share is exactly what I wish someone had told me sooner. By the end of this video, you're going to see the specific moments and decisions that happened when I fully surrendered to God and how those things produced real, visible change in my daily life in just 6 months. Most people spend years waiting for their life to change, not realizing that the one thing they keep skipping is the only thing that actually works. For most of my life, I believed that if I just worked harder and pushed through, things would eventually turn around. But no matter how hard I pushed, I kept ending up in the same place. And here's what I finally had to accept. Trying harder without surrendering is just spending. But at some point, I stopped caring what anyone thought. I stopped hiding. I stopped performing. I stopped pretending everything was fine when it really wasn't. Because I knew God was faithful. And I knew that if I trusted him completely, not halfway, not in the areas that felt safe, but completely, he would turn things around. He would restore what I had lost. He would give back the years the locusts had eaten, and what he restored would be better than what I had before. That was my belief, and that's what I held on to. And that's what kept me moving forward even when things still looked like a mess on the outside. And that's when something became very clear to me. I got that aha moment. I realized that I had surrendered a lot of things to God, but money, I had never surrendered money to God. I thought that that was something you were supposed to handle on your own. That thinking cost me everything at that time. The moment I stopped treating finances like a place God wasn't allowed is the moment things began to change. Letting go isn't giving up, it is getting out of your own way. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't exhausted from trying to hold everything together by myself. There was one specific day I remember clearly. I was sitting with the decision of whether or not to renew my lease. I knew I couldn't afford it, but I kept going back and forth because I didn't want to face what letting go actually meant. And finally I said to God, I'm done juggling. I'm going to trust that you have a better way. That moment I made that decision, something shifted in me. It wasn't instant relief, it was clarity. I realized there was no area of my life I was supposed to figure out on my own. Not finances, not health, not any of it. And that one decision became the foundation for everything that came after. From that point on, I started spending real, intentional time with God every single day. Not a quick prayer before bed, actual time, reading, sitting quietly, writing out what I was feeling and where I needed direction. And over time, I noticed something changed in how I was thinking. I stopped reacting to situations that used to send me into a spiral. I stopped panicking when bills became due because I felt like I might not have enough. My conversations were calmer. My decisions were clearer. I stopped saying yes to things out of fear and started saying yes to things I actually had peace about. That daily time wasn't just spiritual practice. It became the filter that everything else in my life ran through. Within 6 months, I had a job. My son was working, and together we secured our own home. And I was finally operating the way I was supposed to, not using credit if I didn't have the money to pay for it, not spending just to feel better, not running to payday loans when things got tight. And I want to say something about that. If you or anyone you know is using payday loans, stop it now. It is robbery. It is not God's way. And anybody try to talk you into doing it, don't listen, because that's how I got in it. Somebody talked me into it, but I made the final decision. And it was my son and his knowledge in finances that calculated it on paper and showed me how much I was losing that finally woke me up. A family member pulled me aside and said something that has stayed with me. After this whole situation, putting it in perspective. And I want to say this clearly because I have been sharing my testimony with you guys throughout my life. I'm going to say this clearly. I am 70 years old. When I gave my life to God, I was 23. I have been living for the Lord from the time I was 23 years old up until now. I'm not saying it was a perfect move, but the things that I'm sharing with you are not my current life. I'm sharing things with you that I experienced that helped me to grow, help God to refine me. So I want you to understand that. And I think the onus is on me for not being a lot clearer about the time and perspective. And so many of you were so kind when I was talking about when I left my church after 15 years, as if that was my current situation. That happened in 1995. So I'm going to be a lot clearer when I'm sharing my stories so that you can keep it in perspective. This happened in the past, but I want to share it with you because it helped me to develop in areas of my life. Because see, when God begins to put your life together, he starts filtering through little sections. He'll start taking, he'll do it's almost like we get like, when you first get saved, everything on the surface, like surface stuff, obvious sins and stuff are cleared up. But it's, as you continue to walk with him, he starts digging down deep, changing and transforming the ways that you think about how you eat, how you spend money, how you speak. He starts refining us. So, as I was saying, a family member pulled me aside after she saw the change, and she said something that stayed with me. She said, "It amazes me how you can do so much with so little." Her income was 3 to 4 times more than mine. And she was the one standing there noticing something was different about how I was moving and how she was moving. That wasn't luck. That was God working in an area I had finally stopped locking him out of. When he works on the inside, the outside follows. That's what happened to me in 6 months. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to stop being the only one in charge of your life. And if shame has been keeping you quiet, if pride has been keeping you stuck, I want you to know that letting go of all of that is not weakness. It is the beginning of your major breakthrough. If this video spoke to you, please like it and share it with someone who needs to hear it right now. And leave a thoughtful comment. I really want to know, what things are you struggling with? What things are you seeing God work on in your life that you want Him to change it in 6 months? I'm Deborah, and this is Family Still Matters. And because family still matters, so does walking in God's purpose for your life in every aspect of it. Thank you for watching, and I want to leave you with this scripture in Joel 2:25. It says, "And I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." May God continue to richly bless you. God bless.